Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? Great. Well, listen, part of the reason we wanted to start off today's session, on at least the SAP keynote, with the word from our CEO was because I think you can see from that we've actually struck a mightily different tone in the way we want to approach our customers. And as I think about that clip that he talked about, we have to start with our customer and our customer's customer. We have all of those people in this room today, right? And so one of the things I want to make sure that, today you're going to see a little bit different keynote. Part of the lessons we learned and the words we heard from you as we set up this conference was that you wanted us to talk a lot less about the future. You want us to talk a lot more about today. So my commitment to you is that that's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk to you much more about today because you've already heard what the future sort of looks like, right? There's a lot of volatility in the marketplace and things of that nature that we can't explain, so we're going to have systems that can react to that. And then I want you to also hear from some other people besides just me. And then, the most important thing we know from this event over the 6 years that we've been doing it now is that the most important conversations you're going to have are going to be with each other. And so we just want to facilitate that as we move forward. Now, one of the things, though, I did want to start off, and I do have to talk a little bit about the future, okay? But I'm just going to point you to a document that this actual quote that's shown up here on the screen is a quote from the cover letter of what we call a digital white paper for the oil and gas industry. And this is a document we put together that sort of provides our point of view on where the industry is going when we talk about the topic of digital. Now, I'm not going to sit here and unpack the whole thing for you, but I think this quote does a pretty good job of being able to talk about a couple of things. The first thing is that we recognize that the fundamentals of the industry, such as safety, reliability, and affordability, the cost aspect of that, those are fundamentals that will remain the same, right? They're not going to change, whether we're back in the good old days, right, and in the late 1800s, okay, or we're today. Those are still the aspects that really drive this industry home today. The other thing is that it talks about, as we talk about, the digital age, and what does that mean? Okay, we start talking about the digital age, and how is that going to relate to helping us achieve those three objectives of not only ourselves as the industry, but our customer's customer. And one of the things that we think is going to happen there is that there's going to be this confluence of this energy revolution that is happening with the digital revolution that's happening. Now, this digital revolution that's happening is very much driven by the access to information. And it's quite interesting for me to follow the geopolitical conversation that talks all about the oil and gas industry being driven by the access to reserves and capital. And he just, and I'm going to tell you that, from the future, what we're seeing is access to information is becoming much more critical. And that's not just the oil and gas industry, it's across all the different enterprises that we're dealing with. And what's driving that is there's this digital revolution that's happening, right? And the digital revolution is being driven by things such as hyperconnectivity, supercomputing, cloud computing, smart technology. All of you guys have your smart devices, your smart watches. We're giving off these huge digital shadows that some people call them, or digital exhaust, right, that there's going to be harvested and managed. So new technologies like blockchain. How many companies are talking about blockchain, right? I mean, so you think about the future and what you need to do about that. When somebody challenged me this summer about, well, how's blockchain going to disrupt the oil and gas industry, or at least the technology in the oil and gas industry, to be honest, I hadn't thought about it very much. And I'm not sure many of you guys are too. But to bring it home on today, what I want to leave you with is you don't really need to worry about that. And the reason why you don't need to worry about that is because that's really our job as SAP, to think about all those new technology trends and to be able to make sure that we're providing technology that's going to work for you not only today, but in the future, okay? Now, one of the things that this does when we talk about the access to information and the need to digitize everything, we do see an outcome of that is going to be a digital energy network. And that network is going to connect all the workers, okay, all the customers, all the assets, okay, and all the suppliers. And if you think about that term of networking, you know, this industry that I've grown up in is probably one of the most highly networked industries that I've ever seen. Okay, you guys do business together in joint ventures and other things for a long time. But now the speed and the pace of those conversations is going to rapidly accelerate in this new digital energy network. Now, of course, to be successful there, you're going to need a new platform, a new technology. And, you know, we, of course, believe that S/4HANA, SAP's S/4HANA is that answer. And the reason for that is quite simple. It really is about this slide here that brings about the business processes together with the business intelligence. And I see that the background's a little faded out, so hopefully that one will work better next time. But the reason this is so important is for years, for decades, you know that SAP was really founded on driving, you know, business process management. And there was the separate systems that you had to have that really managed all your intelligence, all your analytics, you know. Microsoft Excel being the first one, right? That's the one that I used. We used to download everything so we could analyze everything, make decisions, and then we'd go back in and enter the transactions. The speed of doing that doesn't really work anymore today, right? So to be successful in this highly volatile world, you have to be able to bring these two worlds together. But instead of, you know, just hearing me talk about that and the importance of S/4HANA, I think what you really want to do is you want to go into the event and you want to talk to some of these leading customers, okay? And you want to make sure you're having conversations with them. First of all, you know, somebody might ask a question like C&J Energy Services, right? Aren't oilfield services companies all going bankrupt and out of business, right? Well, that's not true. And actually, C&J is actually seeing a key part of their ability to be able to reorganize and move forward is to be able to go live with S/4HANA at the beginning of the year. And so I'd encourage you to seek them out and talk to them about why are they committed to that, right? Even during these times, why are they moving forward with that and making sure that these are the investments that they're keeping to move forward with. Or we got several representatives here from Shell. You know, Shell has been doing a lot of work on our platform for years, what we would call on the edge, right? And on the edge, what they've been using is they've been using our HANA platform and technology to be able to develop different edge applications like, you know, well reporting and field management. So I'd encourage you to talk to them. Or right after this keynote this morning, Dave Drever from ExxonMobil is going to talk about what do they see the value in S/4HANA Finance, okay? And you know, that's an important aspect. So if a company like ExxonMobil is already moving down this path and committed to exploring that platform, you know, you need to be asking those questions too. We also have a conversation that's going to be about Murphy after this. And Murphy Oil is actually, they used Accenture's upstream direct template, and they were able to go live with a brand new system in less than 6 months, okay? And then, you know, one of the latest ones up here is Tesoro. Tesoro's got a lot of colleagues or a lot of representatives here, and they're on this journey. And one of the things that's interesting about them is they've committed, they're betting the farm on a whole transformation of their company based upon S/4HANA, and they're committed to be the first company to go live with SAP's new S/4HANA capabilities with oil and gas, okay? So I think that really speaks to itself, and you guys can have conversations with many customers there, and they'll tell you better than we can what they're seeing in S/4HANA. Now, one of the conversations that I know many of you have had as you start to explore the S/4HANA for oil and gas is you've asked the question, so when are the oil and gas specific solutions going to be ready? Okay? And I'm here to tell you today that that answer is next month, okay? When we go live, or when we actually release our next release, the oil and gas solutions are going to be ready to do that. And I see that as very washed out on that slide. So, but I think better than us just talking about what the capabilities are, and is to actually show you. So I'm going to actually invite Jürgen Eisler, my colleague from the development organization, to come up and just share with you what we're doing and releasing next month.
Okay, so let me get this set up here.
So Jürgen, I guess while you're getting set up there, just think about, so what is it specifically we talked about on this roadmap? What specifically are we doing when we say making the oil and gas solutions ready for S/4HANA?
Right, so thanks a lot, Ken. And this year in the development, we really focused on S/4HANA, and the real objective was to deliver S/4 as an innovation platform to the oil industry. So it's not only about the applications, but also being able to use S/4 with all the new technology that comes with it as the way into the future, and the first companies are already recognizing the value of that and start to adopt it. So what I'm showing here is a preview of the system that's planned to be delivered in a month. It's a live system that certainly kept my energy level up this morning. What you can see here is the first delivery that we're planning for this year. So the UI is the Fiori Launchpad, and the Fiori Launchpad is a personalized environment for a particular role in the industry. So here, this is an environment for a transportation scheduler, and it's adapted to his role, but also to his personal working style. So imagine this would be Tom, the scheduler of a Texas oil company, coming in the morning and seeing his work environment here. And the first thing he'll see is an alert. So here the system is guiding the user to things that he has to do and enables exception-based processing instead of just the pure transactions that you used to have in the classic SAP system. So Tom, the scheduler, he's responsible for terminals at 3 locations, one in Galveston, one in Alabama, and one in Baltimore. And he's responsible to schedule products, different products for these 3 locations, and he sees his alert here. So first thing he does is to click on the regional inventory overview. And the regional inventory overview is a new Fiori app that we plan to deliver with the next release. And what you can see here is a combination of location and product. And you can see the projection of the inventory over time. And here what you can see is for one particular product, so premium, there is a runout situation. So the inventory level is dropping below safety stock in 2 days. And then Tom, the scheduler, can go here and click at the alert, and he can see that the inventory is dropping below 110% of the minimum physical inventory that he wants to have at that particular location for that particular product. He can drill in further and open the inventory planning workbench. And now the inventory planning workbench is the power user tool to be able to really look at the details at that location and not only analyze the details, but also to be able to create nominations and resolve the situation that he's encountering at that particular location. So you can see here there's a runout situation, and now he could go and create a nomination out of here directly. So what you've seen is the complete insight to action that you can do on a consistent data set on the transactional data directly. So you go from an alert to the real-time analytics for the overview, and then go down to the transactional level to really solve that situation.
So that's all real, right? It's all tested.
It's all tested. There are actually a couple of companies who contributed to the testing, so also thanks a lot for that. We got really great feedback, and we took that in over the last 2 months. And I think we also
kept it this nice battleship gray to show you that it was the native delivered SAP GUI, right? Now you guys can update that and change it yourself, right? To put whatever background behind it.
Right. I left the background in blue just to make sure it's real, right?
So that's great about what's available today, but you know, I know you've been doing a lot of work with our customers to talk about what's coming in the future. And we've actually had several of our customers tell us things like, you know, the access to real-time visibility of all their inventories is critical to their business.
Right.
So what are we doing in that space as a sort of a future development?
Right, and now that's going to be the glance into the future. Like I said, you can use the Fiori Launchpad like, you know, a couple of apps that you have. And what we created here is a prototype on top of the Asset Intelligence Network in the cloud that you can link in from your Fiori Launchpad. So here, now going back to Tom, the scheduler, he could dive in even more into that situation that he has, the run out in Baltimore. So here he sees now the Asset Intelligence Network. He can click on My Terminals, and he will see all the locations where his company owns product. So his locations are Galveston, Alabama, and Baltimore, and now he can drill into the location in Baltimore, and he'll get more real-time insight, the actual inventory and stock levels at that location for the 3 products again, so premium, regular, and diesel, and he can see the problem, the run out that he has in premium. He could drill down even further and get the actual details on the tank for that location and get the real-time readings for the inventory. But not only that, since it's a cloud product and it's a network, Tom can choose to connect with other business partners that may also have inventory at that particular location. And then he can exchange with his business partners, either the independent terminal operators that may own the tanks, and also other business partners, other oil companies that own inventory at that particular location. And to solve his run-out situation, he can see if there are local spot offers for the type of product that he needs. And then going from there, he can identify one of the offers that he wants to take, and he could directly loop back into the S4 system to create a purchase order to that business partner he wants to collaborate with. I got to count to 5, it's there. And that would again close the complete loop from insight to action, being able to resolve the situation. But now not only in your own system, but going out to the cloud, having real-time insight into the equipment, into the actual physical inventory, and then going back into the S4 system.
Okay, so this is really about taking that whole issue around the digital energy network and giving access to, and visibility to all the inventory and transportation movements, right? So.
Exactly. So inventory is the starting point. We could look into transportation in the future. And again, we're happy to work with co-innovation customers on that journey to really find the use cases that provide most value to the industry.
So where can customers go at this event to be able to see more of the innovations that we're delivering beyond just the hydrocarbon supply chain,
right,
as well as have conversations with our experts? So.
We have the digital experience area in the exhibition hall. You'll see these products, you'll see the upstream products, and you'll see other innovations that we're currently working on.
Okay, great. And you can talk to all of our experts in the different community corners and make sure you bring to them what the next innovations are. So thanks a lot, Jürgen. I appreciate you showing us what's real, okay?
Thanks, Ken.
Take care. So one of the things that when you go to these community corners, we've got the full roadmaps, and as I told you earlier, I don't want you to worry too much about the future from a standpoint of, you know, we are taking care of that for you. We are listening to you, and we're building with you, a few of you, that, you know, those things that we need in the future. And we can have those conversations and at the bottom of that screen. And I'm going to give you a secret. So any of you that I guess we did this intentionally to make sure you couldn't take pictures of that, but I actually have handouts so that we'll be able to give to you. You can see all the details. Now, of course, software is just one element of being ready to make this transformational journey. But we're always working on tools to help our customers. And just one of those tools is we actually have developed a survey to find out where are people at, where would they consider themselves at from a digital readiness perspective. And the interesting thing about this is we actually found some interesting data here. And one of those that I mentioned earlier is this 5% have real-time view of all their product inventories. And when we say all, that means all their trading partners, all the stuff that's in transit, anything that's in third-party storage. Only 5% have that visibility today, but when we did the survey, we also asked the question, what percentage think that's important? And over 85%, I think, said that came back and said this is an important critical aspect that we need to take care of. And you can see we have similar metrics across the others. And there are a few of you, I think many of you sitting in the front row here, they're going to be participating in this executive digital exchange and going to be taking a conversation here about where do we really need to go next and to make your organizations ready for this digital transformation. Now, of course, we didn't do this all on our own. And, all of us, I would say, are sitting in this room because of a partnership between Accenture and SAP. And I say that because the oil and gas solution set was actually initially co-innovated and developed with a strong partnership with Accenture. And now we've made some additional extensions to our existing partnership, and we've actually reinvigorated that, where both companies are now ready to invest millions in both upstream and downstream to take these solutions even further and accelerate the S/4HANA development, build industry solutions, and provide these joint solution offerings. But instead of just hearing about that from me, I want to invite Krishanu from our services organization and Valerie Jalufka from the managing director for Accenture's North American energy practice to come up on stage and talk to us a little bit about what they're doing from a services side to make sure that the software is ready to be implemented.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Hi, Ken. Valerie.
Hi. And I see that this slide background is going to be really challenged. This is not how we practiced it.
So I have to speak about it all?
Huh?
There is nothing to aid me? Great.
You trained you? So, well, one of the things that this is why don't you talk about what we're doing from a services side within SAP to make sure we're ready to help our customers make this journey then?
I'm from SAP Digital Business Services, and one of the things that we recognize and accept from the very beginning is that the journey of every customer is going to be different. Although the endpoint is the adoption of the digital core, the start point is very unique for every customer, and that journey is what we want to support. But if you break that journey down into phases, what you realize is there are a lot of commonalities, and that's what we are building on through the SAP Value Assurance services. And what we're really trying to focus on is how do we create templates, tools, model companies, and use methodology, agile methodologies like Activate, in order to make sure that we are able to very successfully take the customer from point A to point B and have a very successful journey. Because at the end of the day, what the customers really want is fast adoption of the core at the lowest possible cost of implementation, but in the long term, a lower total cost of ownership of the products. And really focusing on the edge where the integration with the value chain comes in after that adoption of the core.
Okay. So what role do our partners play in that? I mean, you talked about, because you're from a services organization, and sometimes, you might think that SAP services versus Accenture services, that there's a battle that goes on there. But what do we really see there?
Not really. We never had a battle. That's one thing I want to make it absolutely clear. There was no battle, right? We are a product company. We want to make sure that our customers are successful, but we cannot do that. We cannot scale that on our own, And this is an open offer to all the partners. We are working with Accenture now. That's a perfect example of how we use this possibility of scaling, right? We are focusing on the methodology and the content, but our partners are focusing on scale. And that's what is important for our customers, because then you have the promise of every one of you, having your needs addressed at a fast pace.
That's great. Now, Valerie, you have the opportunity in your role to not only work with just SAP solutions, but with multiple different solution providers. So why is it important for Accenture to make these sort of investments with SAP on the S/4HANA platform?
Thanks, Ken. So one of the things that I've seen is really over the last 3-5 years is the coalescence within the industry around the SAP platform and the industry solutions. It's where the new implementations are happening, it's where the innovation is happening, and it's where the investment is happening. And so when I look at where the industry is going to go, what is the right platform, and as Accenture, as we look at where are we going to invest and what's going to ultimately drive our clients in the industry forward, it's going to be S4, it's going to be HANA, and it's going to be the innovation off of that platform that leads us to this, next 100 years that George Friedman talked about earlier.
Okay, so what specifically are we doing as part of this new partnership that's going to help accelerate this time to value and stuff?
So some of the things we're doing is we are working together in a way that we haven't before to both build out new solutions and build them faster. So we had our first experience in co-collaboration was back in the 90s. We did another co-innovation program over the last few years to draw out some new upstream solutions, and now we're taking those best practices to deliver new capability faster, so that way it doesn't take years to get a new module to you guys, but that way they can come out much more quickly, as well as make sure that the things that are built can be easily implemented. So what are the things that need to come with the technology to be able to take advantage of it in a timely manner so you can get the innovation and then move on with running your business?
Okay, great. So all the tools and some of the things that Cristiano, they saw it. I know some of the people who were at Sapphire, they saw Hasso talk about this new tool, these assessment things. Is that all part of this methodology as well?
Absolutely. Every single thing is a part of our value assurance packages, and just to recognize the fact that every customer's journey is going to be different, these packages are configurable. It's really according to your situation that we advise on the best way to proceed. And it's starting from how do you discover value, right down to how do you implement the solutions and actually start reaping the benefits of that value on your day-to-day journey. That's the entire life cycle on which these value assurance packages are focused on. And we are working with our partners, we are providing all these things, and it's an open invitation for everyone to come and join us in that journey.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys' time, okay?
Thank you very much, Ken.
Thanks. And I would encourage you to go see, these are just 2 examples of the expert guides we have to help you get to this new destination. And as Cristiano and Valerie's certainly mentioned, now we've sort of laid out where we believe the ultimate destination is, but every one of you have a unique starting point. Every one of you have a unique destination or path you want to take there. So, we need the services of experts like Accenture and SAP, and many of the rest of you in the room can bring to this. So now, one of the things I told you, and I said I'll apologize for the washout on some of the slides. You'd almost think I set it up that way, because one of the things I'm going to tell you is that you can go by, and most of the information we shared here, if you go by to one of the community corners, you're going to find one of these brochures. And we've set it up as your path to S/4HANA. And if you open this up, it's going to be a little bit about the digital imperative, a little bit about the energy imperative, and then you get into here and it talks about obviously our digital framework and some of the key elements of the different pieces. But the one slide that was washed out on our roadmap that you want to see the details of, you can see right here on the inside. And we've got all the planned innovations across our value map, as well as the future stuff, okay? And then over here on this page, you can see a summary of the customer engagement methodology and the value assurance packages. So we've tried to bring all this information and simplify it as one simple tool for you guys to be able to take this information out and have conversations, okay? Challenge the SAP people and the experts that you see, okay? If you need some more depth around these, talk to them about that, as well as challenge the other partners in the room. We gave a preview of this to our partners yesterday, and so they each have a copy of this, and so we've already briefed them on this, so they should be ready to have conversations with you. And then the one thing I know that I haven't talked about a lot here, because I said you're going to get most of that from the customers that you talk to, but right on the back we've kind of given you a summary of what the key value statements are around S/4HANA. And again, instead of me putting up generic numbers here, the key message I want you to take away from this is have the conversations with your account teams, with your services teams, so they can figure out what it means for you. But certainly, there's going to be business benefits, there's going to be reductions of total cost of ownership, risk management, strategic enablement. So make sure you pick up one of these before you go, and that sort of gives you a general summary of the overall keynote here today. Now, just before I wrap up, one of the things I wanted to do is just finish up with one last short clip from our CEO, Bill McDermott, who I believe summarized this overall journey quite nicely.
I would absolutely suggest to you that your mind needs to move to a new place, because there really is a new world to be won, and that will and that strength and that optimism that you bring to the job every day needs to now come through. You have businesses to grow and plans that need your decisive action. But it'll happen one person, one relationship at a time, just like we understand our relationship with you happens one relationship, one person at a time. So let's be human with each other, and let's recognize also, I can tell you firsthand that vision is not just what you see. Hopefully we've given you an account today of the future that we see, the kinds of partners that we have in it. But it's also how you feel and how you make other people feel. So today, we talked about where we need to go. We know we need to go with a digital core, human capital management, customer engagement and commerce, the whole idea of networks and big data and IoT, and that is absolutely where you need to take your businesses, and we want to help you get there.
So I look forward to the rest of the conference with you and hope this has been insightful and giving you a little bit of a journey where we need to go.